The DeFi market right now is valued at $208 billion. What if I told you that this is just a drop of water in the bucket to where we are actually headed for DeFi TVL? One of the biggest conversations happening around crypto right now is institutional DeFi and how to scale institutional DeFi itself. Now, we barely have institutional capital on chain. It's a very small amount, which is why the scaling of institutional DeFi is such a big deal. Now, when we think about this, yeah, it's easy to talk about it. Can we prove that institutional DeFi is something that's happening right now? Yes, we can. Because if we go over here to Flow, now Flow is built by Deutsche Bank. We have here how decentralized finance can be used for regulated financial activities. This is providing the potential to apply DeFi itself to institutional use cases where financial applications are built on blockchain technologies. Deploying smart contracts is being met with great interest by industry spectators. Proponents see a strong case for the rise of a new financial paradigm, which is based on the principles of cooperation, composability, open source code, and is underpinned by open, transparent networks. As a space that has moved into the spotlight, the road to utilize DeFi for regulated financial activities is now under construction. This was back in 2024. Institutional DeFi has been a topic for quite some time now. It's also why when you have players like JP Morgan, they're pushing institutional DeFi. In fact, they're calling it the next generation of finance. When we think about how big this is actually going to be, think even bigger. Because yes, this will lead to trillions of dollars flooding on chain. And it's all based around, even tokenized assets as well. Like a lot of people think that tokenized assets are just simply going to move on chain and that's it. No. When we really think about tokenized assets, it's much more complex than just moving value on chain. You're moving the entire asset class on chain. Like once you have a dollar tied back to tokenized real estate, now the opportunity to move every single dollar in real estate globally on chain, that's now a possibility. And then you start to see the much bigger picture, which is, all right, well, now we have the entire value of global real estate on chain. What can we do with that? Well, all of a sudden, you could start to fractionalize ownership in real estate. You could open up a new door for even, lower income investors. You could also start to bring, on-chain deeds to houses. The entire transaction part of, buying, selling a house, all of a sudden that's on chain. So it's not just bringing value on chain, it's opening up completely new doors of opportunities around asset classes. And again, this is also all based around DeFi. Now, when we think about that, we go back to the recent blueprint from Ripple, which, has XRP at the center for institutional DeFi. Now, I've stated it many times over in the past, and I will continue to say this. Assets like XRP, utility-based networks, utility-based assets, they are the future for this entire space. And I feel like some of these banks already told us the picture, right? Which is the fact that this is all going to be underpinned by open, transparent networks. It's not going to be private blockchain initiatives. Like when we think about Kinexus by JP Morgan, this is a private blockchain initiative. That's not the future. The future is public blockchains. But there's one thing that they are missing. And we have over here, CZ from Binance said lack of privacy may be the missing link for crypto payments adoption. Imagine a company pays employees in crypto on chain. With the current state of crypto, you can pretty much see how much everyone in the company is paid by clicking the from address. Now over here, we do have the video clip. New CZ and Chamath warn privacy gap is crypto's biggest hurdle. Binance founder CZ and investor Chamath speak on the lack of robust native privacy protections, fundamentally limiting Bitcoin and broader crypto from achieving true mainstream ubiquity. Check this out.
A lot of stuff around free speech. What is the role of privacy in crypto? One of the things that I struggle with, if you ask me, am I a Bitcoin maximalist? I would say no. Even though I was early, I think my biggest issue with it is that There's a lack of fungibility, which I think is problematic to get to mega scale. And then there's a lack of privacy.
I agree.
It's probably the biggest thing that will hold Bitcoin back from being ubiquitous. Where does privacy play as the world evolves, as you see it?
I think privacy plays a very fundamental role in our society. But right now, as you said, I also think that Bitcoin and most cryptocurrencies do not have enough privacy features.
Yeah.
I think when Bitcoin was designed, it was going to be pseudo-anonymous. But the fact is, every transaction on the blockchain can trace. Exactly. Especially now you have a centralized exchange with KYC.
Exactly.
And, if you have it's actually very easy.
And by the way, we go always back to the same argument, which is it always goes back to the corner case of, well, somebody's using this for something illicit. And I say, there are those use cases, but the overwhelming majority is you buy a pack of gum, but tomorrow you may buy, you may want to buy a certain movie or a video game. You may want to buy a cigarette. And it's not for me to judge.
Yeah.
And dollars are fungible in that sense. There's complete anonymity. We have no idea about what it was used before that I got my hands on it.
Yeah. Well, there are actually real applications where privacy is extremely important. If you book a certain hotel and people know that hotel address, like blockchain hotel address, the receiving address, they will know that you will be in that hotel.
That's right.
That's a physical security for you.
That's right.
Right. So there are real use cases where privacy is very important. This is why people don't publicize their home addresses online.
That's right.
In many countries, if you reveal somebody in Japan, if you reveal somebody's home address, that's illegal. Right. So there are real use cases for privacy, which Bitcoin, most cryptocurrencies currently do not provide.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, listen, this is a big thing. Like everything is on chain. You could track all of this stuff on chain. But what if there was, a network in this space that is solving the privacy gap? And wow, would you look at that? What a big surprise. Permission domains just went live on the XRP ledger. Now we talked about permission domains and exactly what this, provides. Permission domains essentially provides the privacy stack that is needed for institutional players to adopt the XRP ledger. But it's also pretty much anyone that wants to utilize the XRP ledger for payments. Like if we go over here, there's a full breakdown regarding all of these amendments. Like you can go through everything on the XRP ledger's side on the actual website. This is all of the known amendments. Now, if we're scrolling all the way down, let me just go and find the permission domains 1 second, because there's a ton. I mean, there's a ton of amendments here. So here we have the permission domains. So they are controlled environments within the broader ecosystem of the XRP ledger blockchain. So this is all on the public blockchain. Domains do nothing on their own, but features such as permission dexes and lending protocols can use domains to restrict access so that traditional financial institutions can offer services on chain while complying with various compliance rules. This also provides that privacy layer that institutional players and even players like retail basically want, but also even Ripple. Like for the longest time, Ripple couldn't utilize the XRP ledger because of privacy. Now all of this is being solved. And what's even crazier is that we are now currently at the moment 2 days, 48 hours away from the permission dex going live. And I know that you guys are going to say, oh, well, 48 hours in the title, we've been 48 hours away from, this and that. Guys, if you look at those videos, if you watch those videos, it's not 48 hours away from price action. It's 48 hours away from something significant going live. In this case, it's the permission dex. Now, again, very similar to the permission domains, we go back to the permission dex. It creates a permission dexes controlled environments for trading within the XRP ledger in terms of the actual dex. Trading in a permission dex works like trading in the open dex, except that a permission domain controls who can place and accept offers. Again, this is all based around privacy for institutional players, which is why we even go back to that post from Antonio Kaplan, which we did break down in a recent video. If we look at this, right, like this really is the holy grail moment for the XRP ledger, because the permission dex combined with the permission domains, this is truly building out the next layer of liquidity for the XRP ledger, where you have on-chain effects, you have settlement, you have all these new tools that developers and users and institutional players can now use to build towards regulated financial flows. This is where you start to see the institutional DeFi push begin. Because again, we don't get decentralized finance or institutional DeFi on chain without these types of tools, which is why I think that this is such a crucial moment for the XRP ledger. And Ashish Birla recently addressed this as well. He said that the XRP ledger is built for the future of global finance. Big shout out to Bank XRP for this. CEO Ashish Birla breaks it down. XRP beats Bitcoin store of value and Ethereum slow and expensive for real financial use cases. XLS 67 lending plus options markets equals serious DeFi yield. Clarity Act will mirror Genius Act to double institutional adoption. Check this out.
So in my opinion, there is going to be a big change in the way that we conduct global finance. In my opinion, I think we underestimate how big of a movement this is going to be. Bitcoin is built for alternative to gold, not built for payments. Ethereum is trying to build something for every use case, but it's not good for financial use cases because it's too slow and it's too expensive. So in my opinion, that will be the winning formula for taking more and more traditional finance and moving it to blockchain. How do we plan on making yield? Well, XLS 67 is a spec that was announced that will bring lending markets to XRP technology and ledger. And we plan on deploying capital into that lending market to help generate yield. But then also there are traditional ways to also generate yield on top of XRP. For example, the XRP options market. The options market needs XRP, and we can generate a yield on top of that, options market. But I'm most excited about new DeFi technology to the XRP ecosystem and earning yield in that DeFi ecosystem. We think that is more valuable to all XRP community members and token holders in the future. Last summer in June, the Genius Act passed for stablecoins, and that catalyzed increasing the growth of stablecoins by nearly double. So after the pass of the bill, stablecoins market cap overall, doubled. And so a lot of institutions felt more comfortable coming into the space after the Genius Act. Now that is for stablecoins. We need the same thing for DeFi. I believe that the Clarity Act and the market structure bill will pass. And I believe that is going to be a catalyst for corporates and other institutions to use DeFi in their everyday operations, because now it has become legal with the potential passage of the Clarity Act. So I'm excited for that future because Evernorth is working on helping cultivate a institutional DeFi ecosystem on XRP. And this bill, in my opinion, will only help catalyze that future.
And there is so many major initiatives like this happening on the XRP ledger right now, which is exactly why when we think about how important the permission DEX is, how important the permission domains are, like this is at a crucial moment in time where, yeah, privacy is just simply not embedded on chain for a lot of these networks. But that's all changing with the XRP ledger. So the XRP ledger and XRP, just like, I mean, this is so crazy to me because it's so typical at this point that XRP has, the foot through the door, ahead of all these other networks. Because again, we go back to the whole idea of like the SEC case. Again, that also provided XRP clarity above all the rest. So it only makes sense that XRP, again, at the same exact time that institutional players are jumping in, all of these things are being enabled on the XRP ledger. You could argue that it's all been aligned. It's all been aligned and it's already all pre-planned. I do think that this is going to be huge for XRP. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video.